She's 4-linked. The axles are under it. The mounts are all welded up to the axles and to the frame. I'm happy with the way everything's coming out. And now it's time to figure out shock mounts. Where are they going to go? How are they going to be mounted? Okay. I know I've got my truck sitting a little higher than it's going to be, probably. I know I've got my axles right about where they should be halfway through my suspension travel. So the axles are set at ride height. And I need to figure out whether I want my shocks over top of the kingpins, inside, where they are, how high they are, up in the fender well. Probably going to be up in here somewhere, coming down over top of the kingpins. That's what I'd imagine. But what I really need to do is get them out here and just look at it and see. Do I need to notch the frame and make it narrower, make room for my shocks so they don't come too close, so they don't rub anything? Do I want them hanging way out? Well, the further the shocks hang out, the more stable the truck will be. But it does raise some... We got wide offset wheels. It's not like the tires are in the way. So I really think that's probably the way we're going to go, is to have them out here as far as we can get them, hanging out over top of my kingpins, and we'll build some big badass mount to come out here and grab a hold of them, and then a big old hoop up in here. We'll just have my shocks up in here looking real good. Well, let's go get my shocks. That's enough talking about it. I got to go make sure they're still there and pull them down off the shelf. I'm a little bit of a hoarder. It helps. It helps when you're a little bit of a hoarder because you have things when you need them. I just acquire things over time and I hold on to them and always have a plan for everything, and sometimes that plan changes. What we got here is a beautiful Coyote Skull. It's a little bit dirty. I buried it so that the beetles and the bugs and the worms would eat all the flesh and brain out of the cavity there, and I've fastened the lower jaws on. It's not quite museum quality, but it is a real beauty. What a bad little creature roaming around. Now, dogs, especially coyotes, foxes, have got this rib that runs down the skull here. And that rib allows them to have a massive amount of pressure that they can put on their jaws to break bones. Now, if I peel my hood down and you come around to the back of my skull, you'll notice maybe that I have a similar rib on the back of my skull. That's because I've got Neanderthal in my blood. Unlike most people who don't, I'm still very close to my Neanderthal ancestors, and I can break bones with my teeth, but my teeth fall apart, so then I got teeth that are made out of toilet. Anyway, what I've got here hiding up on my shelf is some beautiful Overtime CNC nitrogen shocks, and they just happen to be painted the right color for my project. So thanks to Overtime CNC, this truck's going to be just a little bit more badass than everything else around it. Alright, do I have 4 of them? I sure do. Do I have the Heim joints? We're going to have to look. Oh. What I want to do now is set the shock at ride height, which will probably be about half the travel, maybe a little bit further extended than half. And then I'm going to go ahead and put a hose clamp around the shaft and lock it out. That way I can hold this shock up to the truck, mock it up, just get a look at where everything's going to be at ride height. Now if I take my shock and hold it up in here, you can see that it's basically like I had imagined it's gonna go. Well, okay, so here we get into, that's looking like the best spot, right? Okay, I'm actually liking that a lot. It sets down low on the axle housing, gives the kingpin room to turn, knuckles got room to turn. I'm gonna have a big bump stop on there though. Maybe I do like it up higher. But what happens is, to get up above this kingpin, I've really got to be up high in this fender. Now, does the fender really need to be there? No, not really. It really doesn't. So, that's awful close to my kingpin cap there. And then the further out you get, the further out I gotta go. Further up I go, the further out I gotta go on the axle. I really do like it down in there. I just don't know if there's room for my big rubber bump stops. If I come closer to the frame, then we run into what I was talking about earlier, and I'm gonna have to notch the frame on the inside. Yeah, I kinda like this. Right there. Not bad. Sits kinda close to the frame. Yeah, it does. Straight up and down doesn't bother me. Angled in on the bottom bothers me. Kind of want it angled out towards the wheels, but at the same time, you don't really want it tight up against the frame. So I think what I'm going to do here is notch the frame like I was talking about, cut into it, get this 1.5-inch lip off of it, just take it off, plate it in. Then I've got a little bit more room to get closer to the frame, and I can go a little bit more like this, which will give me room for my bump stops on the bottom of the shocks. The shock mounts will be down low to the axle housing, and they'll be up in this fender. You could basically take the inner fenders out. I just have to take all the shit off the top of them. But I mean, even with that cut out in the fender, it looks good. Man, I like it. That's fucking awesome. That's pretty fucking awesome. Now, do I want it tilted back? Tilted back is nice. I kind of like it centered. Alright, bye-bye. Nice to see you. Come again. I like it angled back. Yeah, I do. Just a little. Not a lot. These fucking brake lines out of my way. That bitch looks good right there. That's fucking nice. Yeah, alright. I like it tilted back because it matches the up tilt on the frame, the way the frame runs tilted up towards the front. If I look at my shock going up and I look at my frame going down across, and I give that a perfect 45, that tilts the shocks back and just gives it a badass look and a badass feel where you know that this shock is forcing down on that axle from the momentum of the truck landing. You landing, you're coming out of the sky, and you got your front legs kicked out just like a cat. Suck that motion up in your front leg just like a shock absorber. Overtime CNC. Best nitrogen shocks in the world, and I've acquired 4 more for this project, so thank you very much. I will be putting them to good use. I'm going to jump this truck over the moon. Alright, maybe not, but I sure would like to. I'm going to build it so it'll jump over the fucking moon. Alright. I like it like that. I think I do. That's a bad bitch. What goes here? I don't know. Some tubing and shit. That bitch looks fucking good just like that. She looks like she's ready to fly. Oh my god, I'm getting excited. Alright. I've got a plan. I'm going to cut the frame on both sides, smooth it out, make it look nice. Then I'm going to build a temporary shock so that I don't have to fuck up the paint and the caps on this one. Then I can build my shock mounts. So basically, I can put the fucking shock away and stop thinking about it. Well, don't stop thinking about it. Just start building shit. Have no fear. My welder is near. I think my floor's on fire. God damn it, my fucking floor's on fire, son of a fucking bitch.
On our user manual. Okay, there has BDC radical. Which the manual doesn't written most of. Yeah, the manual doesn't say
the toes, if you're on, the manual doesn't say, when you're on max power, it's
I need a new level.
1 for MOA.
Well, actually, it still kind of works.
We'll
We'll keep this side and throw this side away.
Okay.
Well, it's coming along. Only about an hour of grinding after I welded all this together, and it's starting to look smooth, but it's still, you can see a few low spots. I'm gonna go back and weld them, then grind them down again until the whole thing's nice and smooth, until it's got curves that match the stock curves. This here's coming along pretty good. It's gonna be nice, but it's a project. I mean, the amount of time I put into this frame, it might have been easier just to get some box tube and just make a whole new frame. I don't know. Oh well, it really does look nice though, all said and done. I'm getting there.